Hi, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 12 of NSIC Weekly Podcast, brought to you by D2Football.com. I'm Tom Frederick, announcer for the University of Sioux Falls. The show is the brainstorm of that guy over in the corner, the Yoda of NSIC football, Matt Witwicky, who has been staying up late the last few nights, analyzing playoff criteria, trying to crack the Enigma code on who's going to make the postseason. We'll find out in on Sunday, November 12th. For me, we've reached the last game of the schedule, and with USF having its first non-winning season since 1993, this campaign is effectively over. It's just not done yet. That pretty much summarizes my feelings. Can you buck up my spirits a little bit, Witt? I'm feeling a little bit low.
Well, buddy, you know, the season is kind of like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. That's at least the way I'm seeing it. I know for you, it's a little bit different story, but you know what? You can go ahead and follow some of the Northern Sun teams in the postseason, my friend. I mean, heck, you know what you can do is you can stay on this Augie bandwagon that you're suddenly on. And, maybe from there, I realize I've got a little bit more bandwidth for this right now. And, as we kind of wrap things up, I'm not turning in my microphone this weekend, but you are for a little bit, your last game that you're going to be calling. Does that make you a little sad?
Yeah, last football game of the year. I'm sad. No second season, no extra football, no bonus football. I haven't shed any tears, but knowing I don't have that many more seasons left, it's natural to be down a little bit, isn't it?
Well, first off, don't think that we're going to allow you to stop calling USF games anytime soon. So you can keep going with that deal, but we're not hearing it. And keep in mind, you're starting off basketball soon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, less than a week away. And last time I checked, you're not paying my checks. So you're saying we're not going to let you quit?
I'm a part of the decision-making process. Yes.
All right. Without further ado, our little dog and pony show has to hit the road with the week that was. How do we usually start? With the players of the week, recognized by the NSIC for their contributions, their production on the gridiron on Saturday, November 4th. First of all, offensively, the guy on the left in the gold there, that's Mankato quarterback Hayden Eckern, the junior from Witt's little corner of the world, Chi-Town, Chicago, Illinois. He's the guy who got the most votes on the offensive side of the football. What did he do? He went 22 of 33 for 328 yards and 2 passing touchdowns in a 49-42 win at Winona. And for good measure, he had 2 short touchdown runs as well. Hayden Eckern, offensive POW.
You know what? I thought for quite some time, he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in this league. The Mavs don't rely on him having to throw the ball a ton, so he doesn't get all the spotlight of some of the other guys. But when they've needed it in certain games like this Winona game and last year when they were playing Mines, he can still sling it pretty darn good. And he's a dangerous runner, and they all the more so when they really need some yards. A lot of times they rely on him on the ground too.
Yeah, the runs were just 1 and 3 yards, but he pierced the end zone nonetheless. Yep. The guy in the middle there is a linebacker for Bemidji State. His name is Spencer Ware. He's a senior from Cloquet, Minnesota, just outside my hometown of Duluth. Ware led Bemidji State with 9 tackles. 6 of them were solos. He also had a TFL, that's a tackle for loss, in a 27-14 win over MSU Morehead. Ware, for good measure, added an interception that sealed the game late in the fourth quarter. Hats off, Spencer Ware.
Yeah, and a huge win for Bemidji. This was a game where at halftime I thought Morehead, frankly, probably played the better first half. And you really got a chance to see how good Bemidji can be defensively in the back half of that game. And as you mentioned, he'll help seal it for sure.
Seems to me that the NSIC is discriminating a little bit this week. All 3 winners come from the great state of Minnesota. The special teamer is from Duluth. It's senior kicker Curtis Cox. He plays for Duluth, but he's actually a Wisconsin native, comes from Dodgeville. He was 2 for 2 on field goals, 4 for 4 on PAT attempts. He accounted for 10 points in the Bulldogs' 44-32 home win over Concordia St. Paul. Cox has a string of 38 straight extra points. Announcer Jinx. And he picks up POW accolades for the second time this fall. Congratulations,
Well,
Cox.
When I see something like that, Tom, we've looked at games where the extra point, for example, this last week cost Pitt State a win. They had a missed extra point and losing by 1. Having a guy who can make 38 straight in a row, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Pitt State missed one against the Cougars 2 weeks ago. It didn't make a difference in a 55-6 win. But, all right, after 10 weeks, sir, Augie, Mankato, Bemidji, they sit atop the NSIC standings. They have 1 loss. Those 3 are in the thick of the playoff hunt. You're going to have more about the postseason when we discuss regional rankings a little bit later. On Saturday past, the non-conference battle had Minot State traveling to and losing at Michigan Tech of the GLIAC. So the NSIC's OOC, that's out of conference record now, is 6-5. And it's up to Northern State to make sure the NSIC has a winning mark against out of conference foes as they go to Michigan this coming weekend. And we'll preview that game a little bit later on. So a wise one. I use that term loosely here. Can you share your thoughts on the league with the last weekend looming just days away?
You take a look at this, buddy, and, the immediate thought is, okay, Duluth is sitting there. Should they still be ready to be able to strike for the playoffs? And we're going to get into that in more detail here in a moment. But, you take a look at the rest of the league and, we have a little bit more of a middle that's been established here with, whether it's Wayne to Morehead to Winona to Northern to Sioux Falls. And this league, I talked about it a little bit on our forum this week. I think the depth of this league continues to grow, meaning a few years ago, we weren't talking about Wayne State, Morehead, Northern State, barely talking about Bemidji in this kind of way where they were in the upper portion of the standings. So it's really made, in my opinion, scenarios where we may see teams that we expect to be, up towards the top of the league. You may see a 500 year from them going forward because of the fact that we've got some parity there.
Yeah, competitive balance. It's more so the case these days than it was 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, etc.
Yes, I totally agree.
Okay. Mr. Hunt and Peck. You know what that means?
I do. I've heard that term way back when, but it's back when we had the old typewriters.
Yeah, put your sausage-like fingers to work here on the keyboard, if you will. And
be nice.
Last Saturday's results.
I'm going to do that right now, buddy, and let's go ahead and let's take a look at those. We
open with not the one at the top of the list, but we're going to drop down to number 4 on the screen there. And why? Why are we going to talk about Mankato's 49-42 victory at Winona State? Because we are welcoming back to the pod sports writer extraordinaire from the Mankato Free Press, Chad Courrier. Chad, welcome. And I think you are our first third-timer. How's that feel?
It's quite an honor. I was going to get my hair cut today, but I thought, you know what? How can I look more like Tom than Witt? And I thought the hair is the thing to do. So good
choice.
To see you guys again.
So, Chad, no pool this time. Whatever happened to the clothing optional and all that stuff?
Who says I'm wearing pants?
See, Frederick, this is why I don't put the ball on the tee for him, because I don't know where the ball is going to go after he hits it.
And actually, if you want to call me again in 2 weeks, I can put the ocean in the background. I'm going out to visit my young grandson in 10 days, and we're going to rent a beach house in North Carolina, and I'll sit out on the deck and let you listen to the waves if you want.
Gotcha. Okay.
And who says I'm wearing pants? And Witt,
I would assume you're not.
Tom, we're still adoring you, how you got your hair did today. I mean, this looks, you want to talk about top notch. I mean,
all right. Enough about grooming, enough about appearance. Chad, the Mavericks last week jumped out to a 28-7 lead at Altra Federal Credit Union Stadium in Winona, and then found themselves in a sticky situation down the stretch. They escaped 49-42. Were they on, off? Well, tell us a little bit about the Mavs' performance over in Winona.
They've played some really good halves this year, and either offensively or defensively. And I finally thought Saturday, well, this is going to be their first, full 60-minute game. They were dominant in the first half. Winona came out and tried to take away the run. And I'm guessing based on some games they've seen recently where Minnesota State didn't pass the ball very effectively. It's not a bad plan to try. But Hayden Eckert, who I agree with Matt, I've always thought he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in this league. He's kind of the same thing when remember when Ryan Schlichty was here in the 2019 team. Those are guys that could put up big numbers in different systems, but at Mankato, you just don't throw the ball very, very much. And against Augustana, I thought Hayden was really shaky that day, missing some open receiver stuff you just don't expect to see from him. But in the first half, I mean, he was dialed in. Winona was playing some kind of soft zone, just letting guys run up the seam, and he was putting the ball right on the money. I don't think they ran more than a half dozen rushing plays in the first quarter, and Sheen Butler-Lawson didn't touch the ball for maybe not even the first drive. And I thought, here's they're finally kind of hitting their stride a little bit. Then the second half, it just kind of turned away, and Winona hit some unbelievable big plays. I mean, that quarterback was just launching it up, and the receiver was winning the battle down the field. A couple times the pass would hit the Minnesota State defensive back. The Minnesota State defensive back is out in front of the receiver, looks like the receiver. He reaches out to catch the ball hits his hands and bounces backwards over his head to the receiver, who then grabbed the ball and ran into the end zone. And there's some weird plays like that, but still, kudos to them for putting their player in a chance to, win a one-on-one battle. And he did a couple times. Their receiver was unbelievable.
So
but,
Chad, Chad, let me ask you this.
Just kind of got.
Let me. You kind of mentioned Sheen Butler-Lawson a minute ago, buddy. Let me ask you this. I get asked a lot about kind of he started off the best rusher in D2 for the first month of the year, then kind of went through a funk, fumbled a bit. Then, since then, the yards weren't as easy to come by. Morehead and Augie both did well against him. And then against Winona, he went for 170 with 3 scores. I mean, is he back or kind of how do you see that thing playing out right
now? I have not had a chance to talk to him, so this is just an observation, but I just think he lost his confidence with those fumbles. And one thing Todd Hoffner does not like is fumbles. And even in those games, you saw he fumbled. Todd would put him back in for a play, but then he'd take him out. And I thought, it was still a little bit telling this weekend when they got to the final drive and they needed first downs. They were giving the ball to Tony Anger. And the guy who was doing the Winona live stream was, how can you not be giving it to Butler-Lawson here? Although he referred to him as Sean Butler-Larson. But how can you not be giving it to him? And I'm just sitting in my mind going, 5 fumbles, 5 that I can recall. And so I just think he went through a little bit of a confidence problem, and he was running hard again on Saturday. So, maybe that is a good sign.
The Mavs, did they have a bit of a overall team confidence circumstance after that loss to Augie? Since then, they've won 2 in a row. Are they peaking at the right time is what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I'm real interested to see what's happening Saturday because, the Western Oregon and Winona, whereas I think they're okay teams, they're not real strong. So MSU has beaten Bemidji, lost to Augustana, and now you got Duluth, and I think those are the top 4 teams in this league. So we'll see how they handle that. I like their chances on defense because I think it's still hard to run the ball against them. You need more of a downfield passing game, and I'm not sure that Duluth has that. But also, Duluth will probably be the best front 7 that Minnesota State will face, or at least equal of Bemidji. So we'll see if they can move the ball. And, I think the real onus is on Eckern again.
Well, Chad, we're going to go through some of the other games in the league, talk about them a little bit, and then we're going to move into picking this week's games. I hope that if you have any thoughts about any of these other games after I chat about them, feel free to give us some input. Okay, buddy?
All right.
All right, back to the big screen, sausage fingers.
Don't worry. And maybe they are sausage fingers, but.
All right. Are we good?
I think we're good. What do you got for me?
I'm kind of dizzy looking at
Imagine driving
there.
this.
We're going to go to the number 2 on the list. Concordia St. Paul fell 44-32 at Duluth. Stats were about even, but the Golden Bears spotted UMD 24 points out of the gate. They couldn't recover. Bulldog quarterback Kyle Walljasper, well, he had another typical day. He threw for 3 scores, and he scored a touchdown, but it was on the receiving end of a pass. He normally crashes into the end zone with a ball in his arms, not catching balls, but he did that time. 4 total touchdowns from Walljasper.
You know what, Tom? They do so much trickeration with stuff like this, where whether it's the tight end throwing it, but they do so much to kind of keep you off balance, and I can't even imagine having to prepare for that in a given week. But I was impressed with, we kind of talked about how UMD, when they're playing the teams in the lower half, they tend to take care of business. And after one half of football, that looked like that was going to be the case. And, to Concordia's credit, they came roaring back and made a game of this. Courrier, did you have any thoughts about Duluth? Have you gotten a chance to see them much this year yourself?
I actually watched a little bit of that Duluth Bemidji game a couple weeks ago. And, again, the way you beat Minnesota Duluth, I think, is the same way you beat Minnesota State, by the downfield pass. And I'm not sure what Concordia was able to do, but Duluth seems to give up a lot of points. So I would expect it to be quite a shootout here Saturday.
Oh, Chad, you haven't seen a team give up a lot of points until you watch Sioux Falls for a year.
Frederick, you can't roast your own team. What's that about? I got Glow on line 2 again.
The truth hurts sometimes. And the
truth will always be the truth.
You mentioned trickeration. What is this? Are you George W. Bush talking strategery here or what?
It's a big word for the pod. Continue on.
All right. Minot State got thumped at Michigan Tech, 37-3. The Beavers mustered only 149 yards of offense, and they only avoided the shutout by kicking a field goal with 33 seconds left. That dumbfounds me a little bit.
Well, Michigan Tech gets a chance to see something close to the option with the way Saginaw runs things in their own conference. And, at the end of the day, they were able to kind of take care of business with this. I can't imagine how long a trip back home that must have been. Courrier, have you had a chance to see Minot at all this year?
I watched about half of them when they played Minnesota State.
Gotcha.
And that was enough.
That was actually they were pretty game in that one, I thought.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a high school game when they play that option, but they did it well that day.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Southwest Minnesota State visited the University of Mary, and the Ponies lost their 9th in a row, 32-28. The Marauders scored the final 15 points, including the game-winning touchdown, with under a minute to go. Only 37 seconds remained when the Marauders got the winning tud.
Yeah, I wasn't real happy about this, considering the fact I took the Mustangs in the pickem, and you had Mary, and I knew that was riding the entire time. I frankly thought that the Mustangs found a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in this one. But, it's kind of been the season that they've been having. And, like Minot, only one game left. Here we go.
Bemidji State won 27-14 at home over MSU Morehead, breaking a 14-all halftime deadlock. I was waiting for something here, but I don't see the picture. All righty then.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Good job of saying, by the way, we have something else we want to see on that.
I want to prompt you here. Where's the
They play for something, don't they?
Yes, what is that thing? Oh, don't get cut. Watch your
That
fingers.
would be the axe. That's kind of neat. You notice, by the way, that one of the guys has a cast on his arm. Other than that small problem. But yeah, so continue on, my friend, about this rivalry game.
Yeah, this game pitted two of the league's top quarterbacks. Morehead's Jack Strand. He was 42 of 60 for 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did suffer 2 interceptions and the indignity of 6 sacks. Bemidji's Brandon Alt, 28 of 41, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he was taken down 3 times. Bemidji State game, Witt. It sets up a title game now between Bemidji and Augie this weekend. That is the game of the week in my mind.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, my friend. When I look at this, I was watching this game, and I was kind of interested to see how Bemidji was having some trouble slowing down the passing game. Morehead threw for 200 yards in that first half. They even had a run for like 20 yards, Tom, which would have blown your mind. But like a handoff. But after that, Bemidji was able to figure out in the second half, and the fact that Alt was able to throw for more yards than Strand, I thought, if anybody was going to, it would be Alt, and they were certainly able to. Now, in addition to that photo we also have this photo here. Remember when I was asking you the trivia question the other day, and you weren't sure of the quarterbacks that we were going to name, and Jordan Hine was one of the ones you missed?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's Jordan Hine right there, who's an offensive assistant with them. That is his daughter, Kendall, right there, holding the axe. Very trusting, by the way.
Well, Protective Services, where are you?
Wow, Jordan, see where he took that one? Jordan watches the show, so I'm glad you threw that out there, Tom, in an odd way. And so there's the receiver group right there. And that's a pretty neat trophy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Courrier, any thoughts on the trophy?
Be careful.
Yeah, I'd be careful with it. At least when Minnesota State and St. Cloud used to play for the traveling kit or whatever they used to call it, the worst thing could happen is someone beat you over the head with it. Wouldn't actually probably cut you. This one looks like it could end your day pretty quick.
Yeah.
Was there actually ever any situations where there was a bit of a fracas with that traveling training kit, I think they called it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I hope not.
Okay.
Didn't see any dents in it the last time I saw it.
I'm disappointed when you used the word fracas instead of schmaz there, but
I know. I'm working on my vocabulary for you.
Wayne State was a 28-20 victor over the University of Sioux Falls. The Wildcats winning their second in a row over USF, with Nick Bowen throwing for 3 scores, all of them to Kendrick Watkins Hogue. The Cougars generated a lot more offense than the Wildcats. They had an overwhelming advantage in time of possession, but 2 red zone turnovers, and the defense allowing 4 plays of 30 yards or more, 2 of them for touchdowns, proved too much.
In watching this game, Wayne was able to connect on some downfield shots and then a big play in the running game. I mean, that's certainly, USF knows what they need to work on in the offseason, is not giving up the big play. Offensively, I mean, the fact that they had 10 more first downs and 100 more yards, I think they're on pace with where they need to be on that side of the football.
Yeah, it's the defense that needs to tighten things up. All right, you got to scroll up one little page. Keep going. There you go. That's the last game of last week. Augustana went to Aberdeen, picked up a 31-21 win at Northern State. The Vikings bouncing back nicely from their lone loss the week before in the snow at Wayne. Vikings got out to a big lead. They held on despite getting outgained substantially. Casey Bauman threw for 2 scores. Jared Epperson ran for more than 170 yards and a touchdown in that Viking win.
Yeah, Epperson's really they've been leaning on him heavily towards the end of the year, and he's really been coming through. The last month of the season, he's been the best running back in the conference. And, in watching this game, Tom, it was 17-7, I think, in the third. And it was like, okay, is Northern going to make another second half run like they did against Wayne? However, Augustana was able to hold them off and come off with a victory they had to have.
As our loyal and faithful fan base is well aware, Boss's Pizza and Chicken is the exclusive sponsor of NSIC Weekly. Instead of me reading ad copy, what the last 3 weeks it's been for firstandtenders.com, we've got a testimonial for Boss's Pizza and Chicken this week. Witt, tell us all about it.
We do. It was kind of interesting. After the games on Saturday, early on in that night, I got a message from head coach Logan Masters from Wayne State, and he sent me a picture of this box that they were eating Boss's Pizza on the way home. And you know what? I thought that was pretty cool. And at the same time, if you go to a USF game in the press box or an Augustana game in the press box, you will see that Boss's Pizza, is providing food there as well. So I wanted to say that, Boss's is supporting, D2 programs like this and D Division II football. Support them as well is kind of where I'm going with that.
Just don't attempt the Boss Hog Pizza Challenge. 28-inch pizza. Not too many people are going to.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that ever again.
I'm going to bring it up every opportunity I have.
Courier, don't say a thing.
Let's look at the NCAA's regional rankings. November 12th, a week from Sunday. The top 7 seeds in each of those 4 super regions will be named. They're going to comprise the 28-school playoff field. Top seed in each of the 4 super regions gets a bye. Seeds 2, 3, 4, they're going to host first-round games. Seeds 5, 6, and 7 in each region will be visitors, and they may not stick in their own region. The matchups will be based on proximity first. The NCAA will try and avoid flights if heavenly possible. And then they'll seed you the way they work it out. 5 will be at 4, 7 will be at 2, 6 will be at 3, etc. They could be shifted out of their own region again if dollars make sense. The NSIC, as you well know, faithful listener, Super Region 4. West, down south, in addition to the NSIC. Witt, you've poured through all the data, all the selection criteria. What are you seeing heading into the final week of the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, mine's is the clear-cut number 1. I forget who they play this week, but it's going to be like a 60-0 kind of football game. And from there, Western Colorado, Texas Permian Basin, and Central Washington right now would be the 2, 3, and 4, which would mean they are hosting. That said, we have a huge game upcoming with UTPB hosting Central Washington. Personally, I think Texas Permian Basin wins that football game. But the loser is going to drop some spots and probably no longer host. So that brings into play the idea of Minnesota State or Bemidji potentially jumping into that 4 spot and having the ability to host. So as we look at it right here, I think if Augustana wins their football game, Augustana is going to be the team that would host, in my opinion, because of the fact that they've already got a tiebreaker over the 2 teams they're trying to beat out in Bemidji and Mankato. That said, if Bemidji were to win, they're still behind Mankato if Mankato also won due to head-to-head. So I'm not sure if Bemidji is going to have a chance since they're not already ahead on this slate right now. So that would be my immediate concern. Now, as we're taking a look kind of going forward on this, we're going to potentially be looking at a situation where somebody's going to have to go to a Western Colorado, or somebody's going to have to go to potentially a Permian Basin. All this is really, there's a lot to still play out here, Tom. So much of this is kind of premature thinking. Now, you may be asking, how about Duluth? Because I don't see them on the page. Well, if we look at the strength of schedule metric, Duluth's at 411 right now. That's super low on in terms of the super region. So even with no matter what they do against Mankato, their strength of schedule is going to end at like 450. So that's going to be really hard to jump up high enough into this grouping. And the fact that they don't have any wins right now over any team better than 500. So that's a big problem for them. And I mean, Duluth, all they can do is if they beat Mankato, they have to hope for a whole lot of help here. And that's all they can do with that. I think if Mankato wins, they're in. I think with a loss, I still think they're probably in, because I think the top 7 that we have here, you're going to see that change a little bit. But right now, we're kind of looking at what we are, and it is what it is.
I'm going to say this: get the pitchforks ready if Duluth wins and they don't make the playoffs.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, when you schedule a non-con week 1, that's winless.
In Michigan,
Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that's going to put you in a bad spot for your strength of schedule, and it's kind of bit them in this case here.
Again, get those pitchforks ready is all I'm saying.
I know. Chad, do you have kind of any further thoughts about what Chad?
Hello.
Witt's internet.
Are you able to hear me now, buddy?
I'm here.
Yes. Me too, but Witt's internet failed him.
It couldn't have been me.
He's back.
Are you guys with me still?
Yes.
I'm right here.
Now for the first time all year, Frederick, I'm the one with the internet interruption, not you. Okay, so as I was saying, Courrier, do you think that Mankato, with a win, you thinking that maybe they end up with a home game if maybe Bemidji does beat Augie?
Yeah, I think that needs to be the scenario for Minnesota State to get a home game. I think if Central Washington loses, I could see them dropping down to the 7 line. If Permian Basin loses, I don't think they drop quite that far, but you're going to have the winner of the Augustana Bemidji game, probably going to be in contention for the playoff. Augustana for sure, if they win, they get a home game. So Minnesota State would have the tiebreaker with Bemidji. The strength of schedule will be close enough that it shouldn't matter much for that. I was really surprised at how far Duluth was away from being a part of this party, because I think of them as being clearly the 4th best team in the Northern Sun, and to see Wayne State even ahead of them in the rankings is kind of surprising. Although I understand it, but I just don't see how you can jump from 11, 12, wherever they're at, into the top 7 with their resume. I just don't see how it can happen.
Yeah, they're going to have. I mean, if they win, all they can do is get themselves in that conversation in the room at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, are you ready to go ahead and look at the upcoming games for the week?
Yeah, the 11th and final week of the Northern Sun schedule is now the focus of our attention. And we lead off with the screen is not reacting. There we go. We lead off with Sioux Falls and Southwest Minnesota State. That's my game. Huh.
Speaking of that, Tom, So, guys, before we jump right on in with this contest, we can see right here, Tom, you've had a chance to talk about this before. This is your favorite place to broadcast a game from, Tom.
Well, the press box is great, and the people there are superb. They're wonderful. But you only get to see half the game. When it's in front of you, you can't ask for a better spot. You're right on the goal line. But when everything is to the north, oh, forget about it.
So have you had a chance to tell like Kelly Loft or any of the others there at Southwest? Have you voiced your displeasure with them at all when you were there or not?
What do you think? Yeah, I've said
Well,
yeah.
Wait a second. Someone's joined the we've been hijacked on the pod here. What happened? We've got somebody doing a run-in.
Come on,
Swami.
Tommy. I thought you were going to be show more angst for the press box
I like
at
the
Southwest.
spot. It's just not very good half the game.
Well, Kelly and I talked. We talked about potentially putting you above the scoreboard. Would that help? And he could see the whole field.
Oh. Well,
Maybe
Tom.
not.
Tom is Tom, are you able to hear us now?
Yes, I do now.
Okay.
But I
Well,
missed whatever shot he took at me.
yeah. He said something about your hair first, and then he said they were going to put you on top of the scoreboard so you could see everything real clearly.
Okay.
So anyway, for those who don't know our guest, Tom, give him a proper introduction.
This Ryan Reynolds, Swami, voice of Southwest Minnesota State. Welcome.
Perfect. So let's go ahead. Perfect timing, Swami. Guess what game we're talking about?
Boy, I can't really guess which one. Is it Mankato because Chad's here?
Not just yet. So, Tom, let's go ahead. Tom, you offer your thoughts about who's going to win this contest.
Well, the line is 10, according to Massive. USF the favorite. Cougars have had trouble stopping people. The Mustangs have had problems scoring. Right, Ryan?
Very much so. Defense, honestly, has played really well. Last week was maybe a little blip in the radar as far as that's concerned, but the offense last week showed some life, had the ball for over 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, and still somehow gave up that amount of points to find themselves on the right side of the column instead of the left. But it's been a trying year with injuries and whatnot, but no excuses. They'll keep getting after it. Love the coaches. They work their tail off and hopefully pays off next year after some good recruiting and stuff.
So,
I
Swami,
have to go with
what
the
do you
Cougars
have for
going
us,
this year.
Swami,
They've
for
never
our
lost to Southwest since joining the NSIC, and I don't see it happening this fall.
See, Tom always brings that up. So I'm going to pick Southwest just so he can't say that ever again. We should have had you, 15, Tom, when Papillion and company, and it was like 55-48 in OT, just a bananas game.
Yep. 828 yards of offense by the Mustangs that night.
Courrier, what are your thoughts, my friend? Who are you siding with in this one?
I think I've said it before on this. Southwest is one of those teams that I really want to have success because I like the people are. Everybody out there is such quality people, and it just isn't happening for whatever reason. Sioux Falls, I kind of like see them have success, so Jim Glogowski can have a little bit of a boost, a little momentum going to the offseason. And I think maybe some people underestimated how big that rebuilding project was going to be. But I'm going to take Southwest in this one, and just hopefully the folks there get a chance to celebrate. Tom, you'll have your day. It just it might not be Saturday.
Wow, should I go with the Mustangs just to really create some bulletin board material here? Well, I'm not ready to go quite that far. I think Sioux Falls had some good things going, especially on the defensive side of the football. They seemed like they just had a little bit more energy, a little more pep in their step. And I think their offense probably has a little bit too much for Southwest. I'll take the Cougars in this one.
Thank you, Witt, to even things up.
Yes.
Next one on the calendar there, Wayne State at Concordia St. Paul. Wayne is favored by 17, and there's no way that they don't secure a victory, in my humble opinion. They're much more complete than CSP.
Courrier, what do you got?
And I've seen Wayne State play when they've were motivated, and I've also seen them play when there wasn't much to play for. It's kind of disappointing sometimes when I've seen them play, but Nick Bone is still the best player in this game. Concordia seems like they're getting close, but I think I'll still stick with Wayne in this one.
Okay, Swami, what are your thoughts?
Well, Concordia is one of two teams that I haven't seen play this year, Concordia and Winona. So I'll see USF obviously this weekend, but witnessing Wayne in person, they're very good. Obviously on the fringe of playoffs and stuff. I don't think they'll make it, but I will pick Wayne this one probably easily.
Well. Concordia made a nice run the back half of that game in Duluth. And the week before, they got themselves a win over Northern in their own yard. I don't think Wayne State sees it coming. I'm taking the Golden Bears in the big upset at home.
I'm dumbfounded. I got to pick my jaw up off the floor for that one.
I've always thought of you as the Golden Bears, so
Easy.
Mary is at Morehead high noon Saturday. Folks with Massey, the Dragons by 21. I'd say they win by at least that much.
Chad, what are your thoughts?
yeah, Morehead should win this easily, no question about that. What's going to be interesting to me is if Morehead can continue this into next season. It's easy to have one good season like this. It's a lot tougher to build that into sustained success. So I think Morehead finishes off on a good note here. They've got a lot of kids coming back next year. So I think they end this season on a high note, gives them a nice off season, and they come back at it next year.
Young squad too. Swami, how about yourself?
Well, I mean, everybody always talks about Jack Strain and what this offense can do, but their defense can be sneaky good on the flip side of that. But question is, how much more is Jack going to add to his records he's already set this year, in my opinion? I think the Dragons win this one pretty easy.
Everyone is dismissing the fact that Mary is on a 2-game winning streak. Gentlemen.
They ain't going to make it 3.
So, that was Tom Frederick, Swami shaking the head. You know what? I love the energy and then the Marauders have going here. I don't think that continues at Morehead. I think there's just too much of that offense to prepare for. I like Morehead here, but I don't think they cover.
Out of conference game, Northern State goes to Marquette, Michigan to play winless Northern Michigan. Witt, you've got some picks where they're going to be playing in Marquette, right?
Your mic was breaking up there, buddy. I didn't make that out.
Northern Michigan hosting Northern State. You have
Yeah. So let's take a look at that. Speaking of spaceships. So, guys, this is where they're playing in Northern Michigan. Courrier, you can't just sit there and look at the screen. You got to give me some thoughts here.
Not sure what's coming out the top of this building, but it's got to be a mess inside. That's all I'm saying.
Swami, have you had a chance to see this before?
I haven't. Does this go down in the ground, or how do they punt with? I mean, that doesn't. I'm just wondering if it's like the Minot Dome where you go down to get to the.
I think it was built during the Cold War in an effort if someone were to attack the country, this would be one of the places that you would seek shelter. But let's take a few other looks here.
Thank goodness. I was going to ask you that.
Yes, it's like a bunch of wood on the roof as well. Okay. And then we have a look apparently from up high. Tom, would you like to call a game from there?
I'm getting dizzy just looking at this photo.
Yes. So that all said, Let's pick the game, guys.
All right, Northern State favored by 23 according to Massey. Northern Michigan, we alluded to it earlier. They opened with a loss to the NSIC. Duluth, week 1, 48-10. They'll conclude with another loss to the NSIC to Northern State.
Yeah, Courrier, what do you have here? Do you have the Wolves finishing out the year with a win?
You know, I'd rather walk the icy steps of Blakesley than go to a game at Northern Michigan. Yeah. I mean, Northern, again, is one of those teams that's just right in that middle of the conference, and it's hard to get that next step up. And, you know, going out to Northern Michigan should be a nice little boost for their offseason. Again, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Northern lays an egg.
Chad, I had forgotten how enjoyable it is to walk those steps and try and fend for your life and make it up to the booth. Is that still as fun as it always has been?
Well, they've taken a little bit of the fun out of it by putting some railings in.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, it's not near the death trap it used to be, but at my age, getting up to all those steps, who knows? That could be the last one for me too.
Swami, have you had a chance to take your chances on that path?
2 weeks ago, I was there, and one of their assistant SIDs, Nick, tried to plug in a heater, and he took chances. I do believe it did not pop a breaker, so that was like a minor victory is what they were talking about at halftime.
That usually takes out the scoreboard.
Yeah. So, Swami, how about yourself? Do you have Northern Michigan pulling the upset, or do you at home, or do you think the Wolves come away with a win?
Dwaylen Ingram is, as some would call, a creature just with how good he is, and if Northern loses this, I would be shocked. But I'll be Homer-esque with NSIC conference-wise and pick Northern State to win this one.
Let's say that Northern maybe has not been road warriors. I still think they're going to be just fine in this one on the road. This wouldn't be a good way for them to end the season. I have them winning. I don't think they cover. That seems like a big number, 23, but I have them winning in that one.
Minnesota Duluth at Minnesota State Mankato. The line is 6 for the Mavericks. Since I was born in Duluth, and will always have a soft spot in my heart for the Twin Ports, I'm picking the Bulldogs, which is likely what Chad and Witt aren't doing. Swami, I have no idea which way you're going.
Courrier, what do you have here, buddy?
And for some reason, Minnesota State has had Duluth's number here the last few years. It used to be, completely the opposite up in, probably 6-7 years ago. I like Minnesota State only because I think they have a little bit more dynamic offense than Duluth. But again, like I said earlier, Duluth has the best, I think, front seven in the league, if not Bemidji's. And it's going to be tough for Minnesota State to move the ball. It sounds like the weather's going to be good. Ekern's going to have a big day, but I think he's coming off it's only his second 300-yard passing game of his career. So I think they're in a good spot. Duluth, for some reason, always tends to go one-on-one with Minnesota State receivers on the edges. And that's been something that Minnesota State's attacked them in the last few years. So I'd look for that maybe be a case again, and Minnesota State pulls one out, but not by 6.
In me looking at this game, I agree with a lot of what you just said, Chad. I mean, it's Duluth plays that type of attack where they're going to blitz you half the time or more, and they put their corners and DBs out on the edge a little bit with that. I think Mankato's going to have to prove that their receivers are better than that, and they're going to have to score a little bit through the air and make some plays. For some reason, I feel like we're going to have a low-scoring game here because I think Mankato is going to be able to keep track of Wall Jasper, who's obviously the situation for Duluth. I have the Mavs winning at home, but I think that this is a low-scoring game, and once again, I don't know if they cover that 6 either. Swami, how do you see this one?
Honestly, this is a great game that to be at or to watch, whatever you want to say, and both have respectable weapons. I just think the Mavericks have a few more based on watching both play. Sorry, Tommy, I can't go with you on this one. We're enemies this week anyway, so I'm going to stay with the Mavericks.
Gang up on the old guy. Bemidji State at Augustana. BSU is favored by 2. I was hoping for a tale of the tape put together by our crack graphic design department, but apparently not in the budget this week.
We were too busy, Tom. We were too busy trying to get a run-in guest. But continue.
Methinks the Beavers deny Augustana a 10-win season for now. Not to say the Vikings might not get that in the postseason, but I do not see them winning at home on Saturday.
Oh, wait a second here, Frederick. You just did a heel turn, as we call it in pro wrestling. You were pro Augie for the last few weeks. I mean, the pom-poms and everything. Now on the bandwagon, then all of a sudden, you've turned back on the Vikings, and now you're siding with their opponent. What happened here?
Well, I think the opponent they're playing is better than they are. Enough said.
Okay. We've got Coach OJ online too now. As I look at this one here, when I walked away from the Augustana Mankato game weeks ago, and I thought to myself, okay, could Augie also do this weeks from now against Bemidji? And my immediate concern was that Bemidji throws the football a fair amount better than the Mavs do when they need to. And that was what the Mavs had trouble with that day. I think, and I said this last year, and I thought it for most of the year, and I thought it for most of this year, that Bemidji was the best team in this conference. I'm picking Bemidji to win at Augustana as well. Courrier, what say you?
I kind of had a similar epiphany after that MSU Augustana game, in that I thought, obviously Augustana's got a good team, but boy, if Minnesota State could just hit the simple completion, they'd probably win the game, or at least it comes right down toward the end. Well, Bemidji State hits the simple completions most of the time. As long as Brandon Alt doesn't throw it to the other team's jerseys, I think he's very good. And I mean, it's actually a great test for Augustana. They haven't played the toughest schedule this year, and in the last month they played some quality opponents, and there's no more quality opponent in this league than Bemidji. So it's a good game, but I like the Beavers.
Swami, where are you landed on this one, buddy?
Both of these teams obviously have seen this year. Augustana is a weird team to figure out. Obviously, record says one thing. They have weapons. I'm not sure their defense is the same as Bemidji's could be. I know Bemidji's had a few games where they've given up some yards, they've given up some points and such, but I think last week kind of proved when they go against a high-octane passing offense of what their defense can do, and I'll go with experience. They have so many dudes that are 5th, 6th, 7th year guys. So I'm going to go with Bemidji State, even though it's on the road.
Okay. Well, Tom, is that all of our games, my friend? Tom, do we still have you there, buddy?
I just don't think he wants to talk about Minot Winona.
I was just going to say, did Tom, are you still there, or are you locked up, buddy? Well, guys, it looks like Frederick is locked up for a moment. So he's going to go ahead and rejoin. We're having some internet fun tonight. I don't know what the deal is. So let's talk for a minute, guys, about let's talk about the final game we have. Minot at Winona. Okay. And Frederick has returned. Frederick, are you back?
I'm back.
Down goes Frederick. Down goes Frederick.
Where'd you guys go? I was here all the time.
Yeah, that's not really how it was, but okay.
Minot at Winona. All I could think of, Minot last week was in Houghton, Michigan. They had to go home, and now they're coming back to Winona. Talk about a tough road life for the Beavers.
I had the same thought. I totally had the same thought.
Winona's favored by 29. Winona wins by at least 29 in my mind.
Winona is, frankly, just a lot better football team at home. We've talked about it all year. I think they finish strong here. I have every bit of faith that Coach Bergstrom and company figure out a way to slow down that option for Minot. And Minot coming off a tough one and then a long trip like this, I've got Winona winning big. Courrier, how about yourself?
Yeah, the guy on the live stream last week in Winona was talking about how that was such a big game for them. they could have a winning season and all that stuff, and it didn't happen. And if they were playing anybody other than Minot this week, I might take the other team, but Winona is too good. I don't think they can beat anybody by 29, but we'll see.
Okay. Swami, your thoughts?
Well, I haven't seen Winona play this year, which kind of stinks because there's no battle of the sledge this year. But
Yeah.
I did see Minot. That's all I needed to see, so I'll go with Winona.
Fair enough. Tom, is that the end of our games, my friend?
It is the end of our games, Witt. Any chance of me catching you in the pick'em standings? Any chance
Of course
whatsoever?
not. No, of course not. I've been kicking your ass in this all year, and I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying. Mary did get a W for you. Well, the Mustangs let me down. I'm looking at you folks. And I'm 63-7. You are 59-11, according to our math, which I don't even know if that adds up right. But I'm ahead of you by about 4 games, my friend.
That's 7 games a week for 10 weeks, a total of 70. Yes, it adds up. You've been
Okay.
keeping track appropriately. Are we going to dip into our voluminous viewer mail now or play NSIC Jeopardy? Or
Well,
both?
yeah, we have some viewer mail. It's funny, Courrier publicized the show on the Twitter machine. And probably, after his memorable visit where he was at the pool earlier in the year, we did have some write-ins for chat. I have Bob in Fayette, Iowa, who said, Chad, we heard last time that you were talking poorly and throwing shade at us, our peacocks. Why do you dislike us? What did we ever do to you?
Nothing. They didn't do anything to Minnesota State either.
Oh,
just
Courrier.
It was an unfortunate matchup every year, but I sat through most of them. But hopefully for Iowa has success in their new conference.
That didn't sound very heartfelt, but we'll move on to the second question. I've got Brad in Hector, Minnesota. That's a one to figure out. What are your thoughts on Jamestown joining the league? It seems like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen for next year. I didn't think that a few months ago, but I think they're going to put them right into the schedule. The Northern Sun didn't like paying for trips. I know when Western Oregon came here, Kevin Beisman told me they had to give them $25,000 to offset expenses. So that's not an appetite many of the Northern Sun schools can bite into. So I think they're going to accept Jamestown, throw them right in the schedule next year, and we'll see in 4 or 5 years. And it's not going to be very easy for them, that's for sure. But they seem like they're in a position to come in and at least be a middle of the pack team in some of the sports.
Yep. Well, that's it for the mailbag, but we do have some Jeopardy questions, which is, of course, the moment most of our fans are eagerly anticipating come the end of this show. They like to play at home and keep up. And, once again, don't feel like you got to share your answers with us, folks. But we're going to start off with Frederick. And Courrier, we'll go to you for your answer. Swami, you will be the third on these. Okay. Swami, have you been spending your day going over the stat page, being ready for this?
I went into radio, so I didn't have to take any more tests. So I mean,
well, you're on with us, so I'm sorry, but you do. So, Frederick, we're starting with you. What team has the longest winning streak in the conference right now?
Ooh, good question. Good question. Thank you. I was waiting for the.
Oh, good, Governor.
I'm drawing a blank. I have no guesses.
Okay, good. We'll move on from you then.
With 2.
Okay, there you go. Courrier, that sounded like a great answer. Okay, Courrier, what do you have?
I would think it's Bemidji.
Okay, that's your answer then. Swami, what do you have?
that would be my best guess too, is Bemidji.
Okay, keep track of your right answers. It's Bemidji. Frederick, you're already losing after one question.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, question number 2. Who was the receptions leader in the Northern Sun? We're going to start off with Courrier, Swami, and then go to Frederick on this one.
It's not a guy from Morehead. I think it's a guy from Wayne. Their names all kind of escape me, but
Okay, we'll go with Guy from Wayne.
Yep,
Swami, what do
Wayne.
you have?
I literally just looked at this today and I don't remember, but gambler's
That's
choice.
quite
I'll take.
apparent at this point. Yeah, that's quite apparent that you don't remember. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. We'll go with Dwaylen Ingram. That's my guess.
Frederick,
You said receptions, right? Not yardage,
did.
but receptions.
I did.
It's Gage Florence of Morehead.
Frederick redeeming himself. 102 grabs on the year. That's Kittnerish. Okay, we're back to dead even. Everyone's got one correct. Swami, you're going to start off, hands on buzzers. Who leads the Northern Sun in interceptions?
Man.
This an individual you're talking, Witt? An individual?
Yes, what player? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to remember my flip cards where there was someone who had 3, but I don't believe that's the leader. I don't even well, if Chad can say Wayne receiver.
They have this many.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it's 5 is the right answer for the number.
Courier, you're not up yet. Okay.
I will say
Fred
Mankato secondary.
T. Fred, what do you have?
It's 5, Chad. Did you say 5?
5 is the right answer.
Let's go with Vavel.
Okay. Courier,
I
you have
think-
any thoughts?
I think he has 1. Kai West.
Kai West is the right answer.
You just had 2
Swami, we're
last
giving
week.
you a half of a right answer.
See, he was the one that had 3 because I had Mankato 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He's had 2
There
games
you
with
go.
2 apiece, so that gets
This
in
is
there
one
quick.
hell of a segment we're having going here. Okay, so let's go to the next question. What team? And we're going to start off with Swami. We'll let you start again, though. Then go Courier, then Frederick. What team has produced the most first downs this year offensively in the Northern Sun?
Sioux Falls.
Swami says Sioux Falls. That seems like an underdog answer. Courier, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Morehead.
Okay, I can understand that. And Frederick, your answer.
I know the Cougars have run the most plays, but I don't think they have the most first downs. I'm going with Morehead as well.
Swami is correct. Tom, once again, you don't know your team. Frederick, you never seem to disappoint us with this.
I've got a couple
Okay.
from you guys now. All right?
Yep.
All right. These are a little more in the
Simmer.
mainstream than this guy coming out of left field. All right.
So we have a fifth and final question.
5th and final question. One team has not missed a point after touchdown.
No. It's my question. You
No.
can save your. Don't even try and jump the bit. Okay, so here's the question. What team has allowed the fewest passing yards in the Northern Sun? Courier will let you go first because Frederick, I can see the wood burning.
Newest passing yards. I'm going to go with Bemidji.
Has generated the fewest. I don't know who's.
Chad Courier's going with Bemidji. Swami, what do you got here? Swami looks like he's passing kidney stones right now or something.
Well, I think it's an old Northern school when they had the 2 conferences. Purely a guess. I'm going to say Duluth.
I thought you were going to say St. Cloud for a moment. Okay,
Thought
and
about it.
Frederick, what's your guess?
I think it's Bemidji as well.
Minot State. I like them apples.
I don't.
So you were going to try and be sly, Tom.
All right.
After you tried to jump, well, hold on. You jumped the segment last week, and I got 4 out of 4. Then in the green room, before we went on, he shows a little photo of a guy, and he's like, "You think you know who this is?" And I said, "Yeah, it's Gunnar Olszewski," and he was like, foiled again. Okay, so I'll be part of the group. What are you throwing out there? Something about extra points or some kind of
winner take all. Winner take all, because we got to get out of here. We're running late.
Yes.
One team hasn't missed a point after touchdown attempt this year. Perfect. 33 for 33. What team is it? Chad?
I'll let the other guys guess because I know.
It kind of gives it away.
I'll say UMD.
Swami?
Good kickers. For Chad's sake, I'll say Mankato.
It's Winona.
Yep, Jacob Scott. Winona.
I listened to the live stream this weekend, and that was kind of what they were hanging their hat on for most of the season.
They pronounce his name right?
Now, didn't you say, Tom, didn't you say that Cox from what you call it had made 38 straight extra points?
Yes, but he has missed this year. He's got a streak of 38 in a row now, but he's missed this year. Jacob Scott.
Riddle me this.
Yep. You got to listen closely, Witt. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
It's always something.
All right. We've run out of time, right? I think we've overextended our welcome here. NSIC Weekly is a production of D2Football.com. Every Sunday night at 7, the fellas do an exhaustive and exhausting look into Division II football. It's on X, formerly Twitter. It's on YouTube. It's also on the Facebook. If you can't join them live, like this podcast, it's available to watch at your leisure as well. Just search it out on YouTube. Loyal fan base, we appreciate your dedication and your undying devotion. Thanks to Chad Courrier from the Mankato Free Press and from Ryan Rollick, Swami from Marshall Radio. They're joining us, gracing us with their presence. These are guys who've had more than one visit to the show, Witt. And they've come back again. I can't believe it. They have not been dissuaded from doing so. It's always
They're like NSIC Weekly VIPs or something, Tom.
Yeah, we got to give them badges or something like that.
I don't know what that shirt on this time.
It can reflect in our paychecks if you don't mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm Tom. He's Matt. We are out of here. So long till next time. See ya.